We trust spirits to be simple. One bottle, one job, and no surprises. But according to Australian recall notices and consumer watchdog reporting, some big-name bottles and budget bottles have ended up on official recall lists or in court over what's actually inside. So today, we're counting down 8 spirits brands Australians should avoid, based on documented recalls, safety alerts, and active legal claims. Plus 3 that are actually good if you want fewer regrets at the checkout. And just to be clear, this is not about you're wrong for liking it. This is about what the official record shows, what legal filings allege, and what quality signals look like when you're spending real money. Alright, starting from the bottom. Number 8, Oxford Arms London Dry Gin. If you've ever grabbed a bargain gin for a party, this one is a reminder that cheap can get expensive fast. In April 2024, a recall notice was issued for Oxford Arms London Dry Gin after concerns about possible chemical contamination. When a food or drink recall is issued, it's not a vibe check. It's a formal action designed to protect you. Why it matters is simple. With spirits, you're not cooking it, you're not rinsing it, you're consuming it as is. If there's a contamination risk, the safest move is to avoid it and to check batch details if you've already bought it. What to do instead? If you're buying gin, choose brands that are transparent about where they're distilled, list their distillery clearly, and have a track record of quality control. We'll give you 3 solid options at the end. Transition. Now, if that felt like a one-off, the next one is about packaging and pressure, and it catches people off guard. Number 7, Ampersand Project's Pink Gin Soda and Vodka Soda. This one looks harmless because it's a convenient, ready-to-drink style product. But the issue here is not flavour, it's physical safety. A recall notice in September 2021 covered Ampersand Project's Pink Gin Soda and Ampersand Project's Vodka Soda due to a faulty screw cap, with warnings that the lid could pop off and create an injury risk. That's the sort of problem that doesn't just ruin your night, it can hurt someone, especially if these are in a fridge, moved around, or open near faces and hands. What to do instead? With any bottled or canned alcohol, get into the habit of doing a 2-second check. If you see swelling, leakage, odd pressure, or damaged seals, don't test it and see, bin it, and check recall listings if you're unsure. Transition. Now we shift from recalls to something different, the kind of thing that makes people feel ripped off. Number 6, Fireball. Fireball is everywhere. It's fun, it's spicy, it's a party shortcut. But this brand has been at the centre of consumer backlash because of what buyers thought they were purchasing versus what they actually got, depending on the product variant. In 2022, Consumer Reporting In, the US highlighted a legal dispute over Fireball branded mini bottles, where plaintiffs argued that some products were marketed in a way that implied whiskey, while being made differently than consumers expected. Now, Australia doesn't have the exact same shelf setup as every US state, but the takeaway still matters here. Brand lookalikes and variant confusion are real in alcohol, and companies know that your eyes shop fast. What to do instead? Read the product line carefully. Look for the actual category on the label. If you want whiskey, buy whiskey. If it's a spirit drink, liqueur, or another category, that's not automatically bad, but it is different and you should pay for it accordingly. Transition. Next, we're getting into the most expensive kind of disappointment. Premium pricing paired with, what exactly am I paying for? Number 5, Casamigos Tequila. Casamigos is positioned as premium. The branding says high-end, clean, celebrity-adjacent luxury. But in 2025, Casamigos was named in a lawsuit in the US that alleges certain tequila products were not as pure as consumers believed. with claims about what the spirit may have contained beyond what buyers expected. Important detail: allegations are not a verdict. Companies can deny claims, and courts decide outcomes. But for you as a buyer, a credible legal filing is still a red flag, especially when a brand charges premium prices based on image and trust. So what do you do with that? You don't panic. You shop smarter. With tequila, look for clear sourcing, clear category labeling, and recognized authenticity signals that the industry itself uses. And if you think this is just one brand in the spotlight, the next one is tied to the same legal storm. Number 4. Don Julio Tequila. Don Julio is another huge name, and it was also named in the same 2025 lawsuit covering purity-related allegations. Again, not a verdict, but it's a strong reminder of something most people don't realise. In spirits, marketing often speaks louder than the actual production details. And when you're spending premium money, you deserve premium clarity. What to do instead? When you're buying tequila, shop for transparency. If the label and brand story talk a lot about lifestyle, but give you very little about production, that's a warning sign. Your money should go towards what's in the bottle, not just what's on the billboard. Quick win. If a brand is charging premium pricing, it should be easy to find clear information about where it's produced, what category it is, and what standards it claims to follow. If that's weirdly vague, treat it as a reason to avoid. Transition. Now we move to a set of products where the issue is not branding, it's this was officially pulled back. Number 3. Celebration Vodka. This one is a reminder that supermarket-style value spirits can carry the highest risk when something goes wrong, because they're sold widely and bought quickly. In September 2018, media reporting based on Australian Food Authority warnings described a chemical contamination concern affecting multiple alcohol products. One of the products named in coverage was Celebration Vodka. Yes, that's older than the 2024 and 2025 items we just covered, but it's also one of the clearest real-world examples Australians have seen of spirits being pulled due to contamination fears. Why it matters. When a contamination concern happens in spirits, you don't get a second chance by cooking it out. You're consuming it directly. What to do instead? For the cheapest end of spirits, be extra cautious with seals, clarity, smell, and retailer legitimacy. And if you ever see a recall notice, treat it as non-negotiable. Transition. The next one sits in the same contamination story, and it's a category people rarely expect to be involved. Number 2. Hunter Brandy. Brandy is supposed to be simple. You buy it for warmth, sweetness, and tradition. But Hunter Brandy was also named in the September 2018 contamination-related recall reporting. The key lesson here is not never buy brandy. It's that when you're buying very low-cost bottles, you're often buying from complex supply chains, where consistency can be harder to guarantee. What to do instead? If you like brandy, spend a little more and pick a bottle with strong provenance and clear production details. Brandy should be boring in the best way, predictable, consistent, and honest. And now, number 1, because it hits a double nerve for Australians, gin. And how did this even end up on shelves? Number 1, Her Choice Gin. This is the one that tends to shock people because gin is so popular, and because many shoppers assume the risk is mostly in food, not spirits. In the same September 2018 contamination-related recall reporting, Her Choice Gin was among the products named in the list of affected alcohol items. And this is why the avoid list matters. It's not always the most famous bottle that deserves your money. Sometimes the biggest risk is the bottle you buy because it's easy, cheap, and you assume it's all regulated anyway. Because yes, Australia has strong systems, but recalls still happen. Legal claims still happen. And you're the one holding the bottle. Quick pause. If you're finding this research valuable and you're still with me, drop a comment with the number 1 so I know you're here. And if this is your first time watching, please consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell. It really helps us continue creating well-researched, fact-checked content like this. Alright, let's get back to it. Now that we've covered what to avoid based on documented recalls and credible legal reporting, let's talk about 3 brands that are genuinely worth your money. These picks are based on a mix of consistent reputation in spirit circles, strong consumer feedback patterns at major Australian retailers, and something that matters a lot in alcohol: clear provenance. In other words, it's easy to verify what you're buying. And just like you asked, these are unique. Nothing from the avoid list shows up here. Better pick 1, 4 Pillars Rare Dry Gin. 4 Pillars is one of the easiest buy with confidence gin picks in Australia because the brand is transparent about what it is and where it's made. The distillery is well known, the product line is consistent, and the label tells you what you need without drowning you in gimmicks. What makes it different versus budget gin is quality control and clarity. You're not buying a mystery bottle that exists only as a cheap placeholder. You're buying a product built around a defined style with repeatable production. How to shop it. If you want a classic gin that actually works in a G&T, in a martini, or in a proper cocktail without tasting harsh, this is a reliable base bottle. Better pick 2, Starward Whiskey. If you like whiskey, but you're tired of paying premium prices for marketing, Starward is a strong Australian option because it's clear about its identity and it's consistent. It's not pretending to be a centuries-old Scottish legend. It's modern whiskey made for modern palates, and it's usually easy to find at major bottle shops. Why it makes the list? Whiskey is one of the categories where you can get overcharged fast for age statements and brand mythology. Starward tends to win people over because what you taste matches what you paid, and you don't need a backstory to justify it. How to shop it. Look for their core whiskies and pick based on your taste, sweeter and fruitier versus richer and oak-driven. Better pick 3, Archie Rose. Archie Rose is another Australian producer where the brand's credibility comes from being straightforward about production and range. Whether you're buying gin or vodka, the benefit is that you're dealing with a producer that actually behaves like a producer, not just a label. Why it matters. One of the biggest avoid signals in spirits is when the brand identity is loud, but production details are quiet. Archie Rose is the opposite. That makes it easier for you to trust the purchase. How to shop it. If you want a bottle that feels premium without being purely image-based premium, this is a strong pick. Before we close, here are a few quick, practical rules that cut your risk immediately. 1. Treat recalls as absolute. If a recall notice exists for your product and batch, don't debate it. Don't taste test it. Just follow the recall guidance. 2. Watch for variant confusion. Same brand name, different base. If you're paying whiskey money, confirm it's whiskey. If you're paying tequila money, confirm what category you're buying. 3. Premium price should come with premium clarity. If a bottle is expensive, it should be easy to verify production, category, and origin. If you can't, your safest move is to avoid. So there you have it. 8 spirits brands you should probably skip based on documented recalls, credible food authority reporting, and active legal claims. And 3 better alternatives that are easier to trust because they're transparent and consistent. Look, these companies count on us not checking. But now you know what recall systems flagged, what legal filings allege, and what credibility signals look like when you're shopping. Have you tried any of these brands? What was your experience? And what other categories should we fact check next? If you found this research helpful, please hit that like button. It tells YouTube to share this with more Australians who actually want the facts. Subscribe if you want more evidence-based buyer guides, and drop your suggestions in the comments. Stay informed, shop smart, and trust the evidence.